A moment when we get this fired up. The chat box on the on the mobile hasn't been working lately. Let's go to here. So I need to have this open here so we can do that. Let's change it to live chat. All right, so we got the templates that we washed and sanded this morning. And I was looking something up on the internet, and I inadvertently found a guy who made his own templates out of hot glue gun. And I like anything that has to do with a hot glue gun because, well, I didn't have one for many years, and I've only had one for like 2 years now. So before I get all carried away, I'm going to see if I can make my own templates. Now, I'm going to start with an oil. This is the oil template. Now, this is 3D printed. I didn't get a whole bunch of these. So this is a perfect opportunity before I get carried away. I'm trying to make this. Now, I've never done this before, but the gentleman, well, he did a how-to video. So we'll see if we can do at least as good a job as he does. And we'll go from there. Now, he used this parchment paper, and I can't tell you who he is because I forgot what his website is, but if you look at his YouTube channel, if you look up Gaslands and hot glue, it'll come up. So we're going to he ended up taking a template that was just made of paper. I'm going to use this actual size one. And what we're going to do is we're going to squirt this stuff, and it isn't necessarily going to go to the edge of this. So I have a feeling this is something like you'd still use a template, you know, but you could at least put this, it looked really, really good. Now let's see if this is, oh, it's on low. Well, so much for that. I had it fired up, but I had it on low. I normally operate it on high all the time. So we'll see how this goes. So you can still see underneath it where it's at. This is just parchment paper. Like I said, I've never done this before, so who knows how this is going to turn out. His video made it seem pretty easy. And that way I don't have to buy a whole bunch of these, you know. Now he actually used the, he was making them, and I made a comment on his his site, and I was like, that looks awesome, but I think the oil is the big template. And one thing I was reading, I don't know if this is the case in every one of them. There's two size templates. There's the small one and the large one. And I was reading somewhere on the internet, I don't know if it's true, but everything and this was a really interesting way to realize another kind of little wrinkle. Anything that stays on the board the entire game uses this one. Well, I mean, flamethrower doesn't, okay? But so like glue, oil, smoke, it stays for the entire game, okay? And this one does not. This is like mines, caltrops. I think caltrops, as soon as somebody runs into them, you pick them up. It's like almost like, you know, you have a bunch of nails there, and somebody runs into the nails, like the nails disappear. They grab enough of them on there that it's not even an issue, you know? Do I play Rivals? I don't know what Rivals is. And we're not going to talk politics or current events. First of all, I'm not interested. I don't know what Rivals is. But, which means I don't play it. It might be awesome, I don't know. I play a lot of stuff that nobody's ever heard of. You know? I mean, it took me... I played this game called State of Decay for a long time before... I've been good, man. How are you? I'm good now. Work is hell. I'm good now. before I found somebody that I actually knew that played State of Decay. So, all right. So this guy made it look real easy. You just put some parchment paper on here, and you just splooge this stuff on here. And I think you even use smudge or splooge or something like that. And I don't know if this is going to end up looking better for oil or for glue, but I guess we need to decide when we paint it whether or not we're going to paint it, oil colored, dirty black. I don't care about it being iridescent, Some people are like, hey, you should make that iridescent. I'm like, that's not really that important. I mean, they weren't saying it to me. They were saying the guy on the video. But I've never done this before. Good to hear. Mates are coming anywhere this year, holiday season. No, we're not going anywhere. It's probably a good thing. Don't make any plans. We went to Europe earlier this year, and not going anywhere. Christmas, normally people come to us. We got some folks that are coming for the new year. Now, I need to put these close enough together that it'll hold. And of course, it's kind of tricky because it's clear. I don't want to go outside this, the template. If it doesn't go all the way to the end, that's fine. Okay? We're going to make one. We'll see how it turns out. No, because you can kick people out whenever you want. My wife is. I'm just going to be in this room the whole time. That's not true. We had people that came that last year. They were cool. We've known them a long time. They're the ones traveling. That's hard. You go all this. Let's see if this fan helps at all. It would be hard to host people that wanted to argue or something like that. Like people that are, because there's people like that they can't live their life without talking about politics or whatever. And I'm like, just leave me alone, These people aren't that way, but I'm just saying. No, I really don't know how long it's going to take for this to dry. Enough. Let's see what we got here. Let's put on the super. Shit, it might be ready now. Nope. Looks like glue. But I figured this is the time to do it. Before you have, now it's not going to stay on this. We're going to peel it off and it's going to stick to itself, hopefully. You mentioned you had a trip earlier this year. Where did you visit? Went to Europe, went to Spain. My daughter was was studying abroad for a semester. And we were wanting to go to, as someone put it, my country of origin. I like that. I agree. I wasn't born there, but my ancestors were. And we never got a chance to visit Europe. So we actually went through the UK, spent 48 hours in London, because the connecting flight was significantly less than going straight to Spain. Did 2 days of London, which of course was, we'll have to go back to the UK, but I don't know when, because it was like literal. I took like 2.5 weeks off, and it was like literal hell to try to take that amount of time off from work. We're overworked here in the United States, just so you know. Maybe not everybody, but all right. Let's peel this thing off and see what we got. Voila! Look at that. That's pretty fucking cool. That's pretty fucking cool. Wasn't my idea. Okay, this is a genius. I'm not being facetious. A genius on YouTube. Look at that. Now, of course, it's not exactly the full size, okay? But you put this behind your vehicle, it looks good, and if it's close, you put out the template. But if it's definitely in this goo area, you definitely got glue on you. And the cool thing is it's semi-transparent. Well, it won't be when we do that on there. Honestly, glue could probably stay that color. You know? Yeah, we went through Heathrow. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. And I'll tell you this. Oh, I was hoping it was Marcus. New York is a shithole compared to London. Now, there may be parts of London that were a dump. We didn't go there. But, you know, New York's a dump. New York's a dump. A little underwhelmed with the Imperial War Museum. I was expecting better. But the Abbey was awesome. The Abbey was really awesome, and the girls really liked the Abbey, which is saying something. You know, I was like their own history tour, you know, because I'm a history guy, and they they actually listened to me for a change when they can put two and two together. I'm gonna make a couple more of these. That's pretty awesome. That's really pretty awesome. And if you needed to do glue, now the problem with glue is it takes up a space. So I was looking up, and I haven't used any of these weapons, you know, any of these things in Gaslands, and I want to use them so we can learn how to use them. But glue, you uses a whole slot, and you only have an ammo of one. So if you have a car that has glue, it takes up a space, takes up a build slot, and you get to use one glue and you're done, right? Your mental image of the USA is based on Seattle and Philly. Those are the only, you know, yeah, I don't live in a big city. I mean, the city I've spent my whole life in has 150,000 people on it on a good day. And, you know, it's suburbia. So it's totally different than even something like Jacksonville or Miami or Tampa that's not a metropolis like Seattle. I know somebody that went to Seattle recently and was just like ate up with homeless people. Which I swear in the 1990s and 80s, I mean, the homeless people just weren't around. They must have been, I don't know, working? I don't know. Look at this. Amazing. I mean, I got to give this guy credit. Let's find out who he is. Because I do not like taking credit for things. There's enough things that I am really good at that I don't need to take credit for somebody else's stuff. You know? I mean, I may say, you know, like, hey, I discovered you can use hand sanitizer to clean your brushes. And I may not have. Somebody I'm probably has done it before, but I never saw anybody do that. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, it's like Columbus discovering America, right? Hey, there's already people over here. Yeah, but nobody knew about those people. So, you know, he still discovered it. You know, same thing, you know. But this guy literally, I got to find him, whatever. So I'm going to do a search here for YouTube. I don't want to open up another window. YouTube, Gaslands. Gaslands, oil slick, I think is what I searched for. And I got this gentleman's site. And his name is Gaslands Public Access. And it's actually a video called Easy Oil Slicks Made with Glue. And it's fucking brilliant, you know? As you guys would say, Sweetaria, welcome. Yeah, just like, you know, England isn't London. Yeah, that's one of my big gripes about stuff like New York. People outside the United States get bombarded by so many shows and things that they see that is so New Yorkish that doesn't happen in the rest of America. You know, like, what was that show that everybody likes? Seinfeld. I never liked Seinfeld. It's too New Yorky. It's not relatable, you know? All right, let's make another one. You know, like Pacino and De Niro. People don't talk like that in the rest of the United. You know, there's some inbred people here too. You know, and as I like to say, I am from the South, proudly, but I'm not Southern. Not there's anything wrong with that. It's just not me. All right, let's do another splooge here. So I think the way I would do it is I would run something close to the perimeter. Okay, because you want it to be kind of close to the edge. I mean, I've never made one of these things before, but I'm pretty crafty. So go watch that guy's videos. I have no idea who he is. Hopefully he's not a communist. And it's pretty awesome what he did. So, although I think he used the wrong size template. I've done shit like that too. You know, I believe that all the oils and glues are on this big one. I was like, well, maybe it's an earlier version of the rules, because there's like a FAQ, you know, frequently asked questions group and stuff like that. But apparently that's not the case. So, you know, I screw up all the time. So shit happens. Oh, I stuck myself to it. Ah, look at that. Idiot. These legs are, whoops, these legs are too close is what it is. Hold those legs up, landing gear up. It's like a Spitfire. Spitfire's awesome, but not with the landing gear down. I was hoping Don will call me tonight and we can play some War Thunder. I haven't played in like a month. Ah, Snapdragon. Of course, now I have to reload this. What? Oh my gosh, I already went through one. Whoops. Well, move this off to the side and sling shit, apparently. And let's go grab another. I got lots of these things. I didn't think I was ever going to use this 75 mini glue sticks. Joke's on me, I've gone through about half of them. And I didn't have a hot glue gun until 2 years ago. And it's like the best thing since sliced bread. I'm a big epoxy fan, right? But the problem with epoxy is you waste a lot of it, mixing the two parts. And it's like too wet, too wet, too wet. Oh shit, it dried, you know, like it'll rush you, right? And if you get it on something you don't want, it's a pain to get off. Hot glue gun, you get it on something you don't want, you just peel it off, no problem. Outsider, you have no eye surprised by how massive America is. Everything is huge. I was in Seattle for a training with Boeing, and that warehouse might be the size of London. Well, I'll tell you what I didn't like about Europe. Well, there's only one thing I don't like about the UK, is you guys can't drive on the right side of the road. That's it. I'm fine with everything else about you. You know, I was surprised seeing there was so many Union Jacks flying. I thought you guys were like anti-putting your own flag up, you know. Although when we went to Gibraltar, it was sad that there wasn't a single British Navy ship there. Like, dude, even like, you know, what was that thing you guys named? Boaty McBoat McFloat, Floaty McBoat Float or something? Not even that tugboat was there. But the parking in Europe sucks. The parking, and I didn't drive, I'm not driving on the wrong side of the road. That's a recipe for disaster. But I drove in Spain. And they drive better in Spain than in the United States. People in this country are just morons. It has to do with the phones. It has to do with the damn phones, you know? Everybody's on their damn phone all the time. And they're not paying attention. And I feel like I'm a preschool teacher. Okay, that guy's doing something crazy. Get away from him. Pass that guy before something falls off his truck. Stuff like that, you know? Yeah, London's 10 million people. Like, I don't belong in a place with 10 million people. That's weird, you know? All right, we dry yet? Yeah? Okay. But I like the UK. Half my viewers are from the UK. As I tell my viewers, my experience with Americans is we don't have a problem with anybody from Britain. We just don't want people from Britain telling us how to do things over here. That's all. And you guys probably don't want to do the same thing. That's cool. Other than that, you know, for whatever reason, Hollywood wants to make all the bad guys have English accents, but I don't have a problem with you guys. You guys are cool. However, Germany does have better beer. Oh, don't shoot me. Look, you guys get all the toys and miniatures and everything. That's more important. The land of toys. Germany's got the beer, and that's about it. Um, freaking amazing. Amazing. Just amazing. Amazing, this stuff. Look at this. Unbelievable. What a wizard. What a wizard that guy is. I gotta send him some pictures. I said, dude, you're awesome. Parking in Spain was a nightmare. Was a nightmare. We went and visited one place that had like some Roman ruins because we were traveling. We went all over the place. Well, we had a schedule, right? We couldn't, you can't just fuck around or you don't see anything. So, like, we spent 4 days in Madrid. We basically went there to deposit my daughter. Well, that sounds weird, but anyways, so she was going to stay there. We were flying over there, staying there. We're like, let's go over Spain. And I had a list of places I wanted to go to, you know. But I mean, we had to be busy. I mean, we hit like El Escorial one day and Segovia, and we did both of them all in one day. It's like walk, let's hustle because we've been trying to go to Europe for like 25 years, and something would always come up. Okay, let's make another one. What? Why not? Why not? But I didn't get a chance to go to. If I spent more time there, I would have gone to the Tank Museum. Next up, Asia. I don't know if there's anywhere in Asia I want to go. Japan, I don't do earthquakes, man. That's creepy. Earthquakes are creepy. And there's a lot of Japanese stuff that I like. Yeah, I'm fine not going to Asia. Italy, haven't been to Italy. That was the whole rule. If I was going to go to Europe, I had to go to Spain. That's, where we fucking come from. Great-grandfathers, anyways. Italy, Germany, France. I don't have anything against the French. France, okay, let me tell you something about my opinion of France. And yours, of course, will probably be different, but, you guys are island the island French. It's not that one thing. The English have never beaten the French in battle, but the island French have beaten the mainland French many times. Saying everybody in France is, this, that, or the other is like saying everybody in the United States is like the people from New York. It's just not fair, That's not fair. But I would love to go to France, I've never been to a country where I didn't understand the language. So I've been all over Central America, Canada, America Light. Help me, I'm so sloppy. Put a bib on. I don't know. It's not my turn to watch you. You'll be all right. You stay on here long enough, I'll end up doing something sloppy too. Italy. I'm just going to speak Spanish to them and talk to my hands. I'm scared to death of driving in Italy. I don't know if I could drive in Italy. Those people are crazy. With them tiny little, fix it again Tony cars. Greece. Greece would be great. Don't know what that fucking language is. With them weird alphabets. Germany, where else? I don't really care for the... See, the problem... The thing what I loved about Spain is that's where we come from, and the history is, like, awesome. The history in Britain was good. If you go to some place like Norway, not really interested in the history there. Although climate and view, probably awesome. Right exactly down what we'd like. It's just, forget the expense. If somebody said, hey, I will pay for you to go to Europe. I'm not saying I'm made of money because I'm not, but I'm just saying the biggest problem is it is a punishment to take that much time off, to do that much stuff in advance, to have to come back and fix that much stuff. It's like not worth it. It's like, I'll just wait another 12 years and then I can, and then we can go. 13 years, something like that. And it's not getting any easier. Every year it's worse. So, what's up, Justin? I don't have one of those dogs like that sheep dog in the cartoon, right? Where he punches a time clock. you know, time to leave, and he just, he's getting ready to strangle the coyote. He's got to let him go, and he falls on the ground, and they go back to, being friends, No, I don't take work with me, but it's very difficult to leave. Oh yeah, Justin's a regular. Okay, Baslial. Basliel. Hope I said that right. But I would have, if I had more time in the UK, I would have gone to the Tank Museum. That would have been great, but it's 5 hours from London. Would have made it to Hannets, right? I said it right the last time. Baslial. Baslial or Basliel? I'd go with Baslial. It sounds a bit like a demon or something like that. I think I killed him in Diablo. Bow before Baslial. Like, whoa. Basliel sounds like, what's up, my Basliel? Another one. What? I'm going through this stuff like, I better order some of this for Black Friday. Seriously, I didn't have a hot glue. I've been doing model stuff since 1985. Never had one. I got one, absolutely, yeah. I got one 2 years ago, and it's spectacular. Now, I know they're all probably made in the same, nice refrigerator. Yeah, it's okay. It's stainless. It's got 2 ice makers. I'm a huge ice whore. That's what I do. That's because I'm a spoiled American. Gotta have air conditioning and a refrigerator. I live in freaking Florida. It's hot as crap here. All right, let's peel this bitch. Look at that. What up? So anyway, so I need to go back and I've got my urban gangster guys all fleshed out. They got like 9 vehicles, right? I got like 2 vehicles for the Brits. Or as I like to call them, Cruel Britannia. They're all, everyone on all these teams are a bunch of criminals. They're all a bunch of thugs, right? Otherwise, why would they be in some kind of death race? Look at this. Amazing. What was that guy's name? Gasland Public Access. Could change my channel to Gasland, Tony's Gaslands Garage, but I've already got my channel. I've had it for like 7 years or maybe longer than that. We're good. Yeah, I actually have another refrigerator in the garage. The other refrigerator, we got used to the old house and having, we ended up redoing the kitchen and we got a stainless refrigerator. And so we put the old refrigerator in the garage, and then we got used to having 2 refrigerators. So when we got this one, this house came with this refrigerator already. We left the other one at the old house, and the other guys paid for it. So we had to buy we got some shitty refrigerator, I think, some generic like refrigerator in the garage, some Hisense or something like that. It's it looks all right. It's just it's gonna fall apart one of these days. It's not wonderful or anything. So the question is, can I make this thing look like oil? And I think I can. The other alternative is to find something clear and glue it on top of it, so it gives it some depth. But glue, dude, I wouldn't do anything to this. Like, there's your glue. I mean, literally, it is the freaking glue. Let's make a few more of them. I cut too big a piece. I keep using that same spot. Again, I'm not going to take credit for it. I'm not even going to take credit for making it look easy, because he made it look easy. And I'm out again. There we go. I don't know that I have a car that has glue. I actually, I know I have not built a car with glue. I mean, it just got a monster truck. I mean, somebody with glue, it's got to be like, a Joker. I don't mean like, the Batman Joker. I just mean, somebody who's, an ass clown, like literally clowns. So one of the clown cars will have glue. Glue is actually, it's a treacherous surface, and when you hit it, you have to drop 2 gears. All kinds of stuff could happen, but you only get one. Oh yeah, the concept of leaving some amenities behind when moving is a very alien concept over here, by the way. When you go, you take your washing machine, fridges, dishwashers. Well, the thing is, if the people that stay there want to keep it, they want to buy it from you. That's what it is. Like, we left all our bedroom furniture. Now, it was bedroom furniture we bought 23 years earlier, right? And we got our use out of it. It was still in good shape and didn't really go with the flow of the house. Now, I'm not a fashion person, and we don't throw things away that work, right? But after being married almost 25 years, we would collect a lot of mismatched stuff. Now, it wasn't really mismatched, right? It wasn't like something was purple and something was white and one thing was green. None of that. But it was stuff that wasn't themed together. So I'm like, okay, if you're going to do that, this house is very clean. It's very white, and it has light gray and stainless. It's pretty much what it is. Of course, the floor is brown, but that's beside the point. Floor is pretend to be wood, and it's all plastic, which basically means you could spill something on it. It doesn't matter. It's not even pergo. It's like plastic. It's like this, obviously thicker. So the time to buy a couch that works for the house, and we were able to sell all the stuff. You know, they bought. Yeah, they were moving from California. Yep. And we gave them things that we had already used. It wasn't like we were throwing them away and, that kind of stuff. So I don't like throwing things away. Like if you have a television that's like a 50-inch TV, whatever that is in meters, a 50-inch TV, and you want to get a new TV at 75, you're basically taking the 50-inch TV and saying, you know what? We're going to call this dead and replacing it with something else. I don't like to replace something that works with something else. You're pissing money away. You know, we've all of us have been tight on money, and it kind of, I talk about this with Marcus all the time. I said, it's and no, that's not who I'm married to. I'm old school. I like girls. Um, Not that there's anything wrong with that, but once you've had trouble with money, and not had a good job, it's like that stuff stays with you. It's hard to shed that. And here's another one. Yeah, they actually paid cash too. No, they didn't look like they were a young family. They probably sold their house in California for $1 million freaking dollars or something like that. Everything out there is super expensive. Florida used to be cheap, and then everybody came here and drove the prices up. So yeah, you sell a house, you get a lot more for it, but then the house you have to buy costs a lot more too. So you're not getting ahead unless you're sitting on 20 houses and want to downsize to one. I guess we'll make another one of these things. Well, one thing's for sure, they're all different. But we stayed in that house for 20 years. 21 years? 21 years. You know, so I'm not like a house hopper. I remember a long time ago, we ended up meeting there were a couple of realtors. Went through another one already. Gee whiz. And their goal, they said, was to one day, they basically buy a house, sell it, make money on it, put it down on the next house. And they said eventually they wanted to just be able to do that enough times that they could just buy a house for, it would basically be free. Like it would have paid for itself. I'm like, yeah, that was before the housing crisis of 2008. So I'm pretty sure they got stuck with one and that didn't work out for them. That kind of caught everybody by surprise. And it didn't matter to us. We were still in the same house. We were already in that house for 5 years at that point. So what brings you here? Aguilar, Gaslands, hot glue, surfing. I'm always curious what brings people here. I'm a World War II nut, so I have a lot of DBA content. I have a lot of World War II content, and I just realized, I'm a lot happier just doing this. I think I heard you talking about trucks earlier. I was planning to import a Chevy Silverado, but you know how crazy import tax? They're probably crazy. They're probably insane, especially on American products over here. Hence why Trump was mad. Yeah, I don't know. Even before Trump, that whole business with I've always ordered hobby things from the UK, always. And the shipping was about the same. You had the exchange rate thing. I get it, It's not much difference. It's 20%, 15% higher, something like that. But then that whole thing, like 3 or 4 years ago, happened, and it just skyrocketed. It's like you just can't get anything from the UK. It was like the UK was like the same as the US, and it shipped like in the same amount of time, like a week, And I got better service from people in the UK. Now Europe was ridiculous. I ordered something from Spain, and it was an absurd amount of money to get it. Tuning back in, Scott Holt. I've been thinking about Gaslands. I think I'm going to start painting some cars also. Well, the thing about Gaslands is it's damn near free. Okay, go and get something for $1, and have $20 worth of fun for a $1 item. Even if you never play the game, it's amazing, And it's great going to a store and seeing what cars they have, even if you don't buy any. It's cool. It's like being a kid again. Well, I've been a kid for a while, but you know what I mean. It's so cheap. And people say, wargaming is expensive. Well, not if you have self-control. Even buying Games Workshop stuff, which I don't. Compared to like firearms or boats or what else? Cars. These are the only cars you can afford. I want a sports car. Well, I guess I'll get a wet Nelly. That's you can't afford a real car. Well, you got to have one, but I'm just saying that. You can't have something fancy. You can, but I'm not going to pay that kind of money for it. My car's fancy enough. You know what I'm saying. Okay, let's make one more. How many do I have? Won't be able to get in this room. I have too many. I have like 6. 6 would be plenty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, let's prime one. Let's prime one and see what happens. Okay, this one's got the most. Let's do this one. You have a '99 4Runner. Love it. It's a beautiful looking vehicle. I've always thought they look good. They're just too expensive, I had an Xterra for a while. I loved the Xterra, but the gas mileage just sucked. Absolutely sucked. And Nissan isn't what it used to be. I was a big Nissan fan. Then that French guy, nothing against the French, but that French guy got a hold of him. And, air conditioning don't work worth a fuck for them, for Nissan. I've always had problems with air conditioning. And in that particular vehicle, oh, this one curls up at the end. You want to be insolent? Don't be insolent with me. And I always had issues with the air conditioning in that car. And every time you had to work on the air conditioning, it was behind the engine, and the labor just ate you alive. And eventually I had to get rid of it. Eventually I just couldn't. It just didn't make any sense. 3.4 liter in mine really drinks the fuel 16 miles a gallon. Yeah, it looks good though. There was a guy at work had one. It was silver. I'm a big silver car fan. It goes with everything, all the time, and absolutely gorgeous vehicle. Absolutely gorgeous vehicle. But it's like now they're like 55,000. I'm not buying a $55,000 car. That's crazy, For where I know, as a Toyota had a Helix most of my life. Such a tough truck, and smaller too. Fits hard. Your narrow, sad streets. Yeah, I don't know that they're sad. I mean, historical streets aren't really sad. They're just, you can't get in there. I mean, we waste a lot of stuff here. We probably, waste too many things. But where's my little tweezers? See, we got these little cobwebs. Let's get them off. Might be okay for glue, but. All right, maybe I'll use one that doesn't have so many cobwebs. It isn't that big of a deal. Let's just paint it and see what happens. Let's paint it and see what happens. We got some Vallejo primer on here. And if it's semi-transparent, that's okay too. It is oil. And look, we're getting some of them off on here. I don't think Helix on the American market. You guys have Tundras and Tacomas. Yeah, I don't know why they change. They change brands of stuff. Like when I go to Mexico, they don't have Sentras over there. They have Surus. TS. Suru. I don't know why, but that's just what they decided to just come up with other names for them. And they got to make them special for us because we don't want the steering on the British side. Sorry. Hey, you can't blame us. Even Canada said, fuck no, we ain't doing that. Only thing I don't like about Britain. I'm sure there's other things I probably wouldn't like, but just in my 48 hours. I gotta give you guys hell about something. Might as well be something you guys can't control. I said, oh, that's from riding a horse wagon carriage and being able to have your sword out. I'm like, can you carry a saber now in Britain? Because that might actually be a fair trade. Like, all right, I'll drive on the wrong side of the road, but I get to carry a saber. Nope, can't do that. Well, fuck it. There's no reason to do it then. Those torch lighters work well to get hot glue spider webs. My kid makes accessories for their toys with it. Well, they're in the middle. That's the problem with it. So I'd rather not mess with them right now. I have a torch lighter. This shit's flammable. Maybe on the weekend. I gotta roll into like a work day, and I got enough problems waiting for me tomorrow. It is good. It is good, we're all over the world, All right, let's see what we got here. Now, that looks pretty fucking good as it is, but I'm not going to leave it alone because that's lazy. I can do better than that. That's 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 great for how simple that is. It's crazy how simple that is. And again, if your car is touching this, you're obviously in the oil. If it's close, pull out the template. You know? Wasn't my idea though. I'm just bringing it to you guys. There's some wizards out there. Like every time we talk about Hot Wheels, I like talking about 3D Bot Maker. I don't know the guy. He's in California. He has the best videos on YouTube of anything. I dare you to come up with better videos on YouTube than 3D Bot Maker about anything. It's freaking amazing. It's so entertaining, and he puts a lot of work into it. I don't know the guy. I mean, hopefully he's not a communist. So I like to say, I give people credit, but hopefully you're not a communist. Or some other ists that are bad. We all know what they are. Okay? One of them was bombing your country. Mustachioed rat bastard. Okay, so let's do another one. Let's see what happens here. This has got a big splooge. Another splooge. This one's a little more dissipated. And the best paint comes from England too. This stuff, in my opinion. Coat the Arms. I know it's backwards. There's nothing I can do about it. Love Coat the Arms. The guys that originally made Games Workshop stuff. And I still have some of the original Games Workshop paints. Well, Fiery Orange isn't really impressive because it's not a color you use a lot, but I still have a Mithril Silver. I got half a bottle, or what do you guys call them? Half a pot of Mithril Silver. It's the shiniest one of all. And I had Chainmail and the other one. What was the other one? There was Chainmail and the darker one. And, of course, I used them all. So, but what do you expect? I mean, I've had those since the early 1990s. All right, let's do it again. Now, it dried really quick. I'm actually surprised about that. I'm going to give it another coat. Now, a long time ago without the internet, my initial reaction would be like, oh, just use enamel paint, right? Because enamel will stick to everything better, but it's hard. It'll be brittle and it'll crack off. So had I not been able to share ideas with other people, my initial reaction would have caused me to have to repaint stuff. But that's what's great about the internet. We don't all have to invent the wheel. We can work off of each other if you choose to. If you choose to pass on information and look it up. And as long as the information isn't wrong, I really have a problem with people that pass on wrong shit. I had a conversation. I did that video on how to clean your brushes with a hand sanitizer, and it's really amazing because once I found out that you could do that, I'm like, this is amazing. Like clean all the little leftover. You can't bring them back to life. They'll still be, if you abuse them by dry brushing, that's not going to fix it. But you can get all the paint in between there. And one guy piped in, oh, it works just, alcohol works just the same. Well, first of all, I took him up on it and it doesn't. Or maybe I wasn't holding my mouth right, okay? But it didn't work well for me. And alcohol is super thin, like water. So you can't just put some alcohol here in your hand and then clean your, it's just, you need it in a container and stuff. And it didn't take, I don't know what the hell's in the hand sanitizer, but it's amazing. I use that in my airbrush, getting all like the hard to get stuff. You know what? Next try and visit Australia for the kangaroos, sake, and all the insects. Yeah, we got enough insects here in Florida. I had a couple guys that I know that used to travel to the United States, and I met them, and they're from Australia, and they're great They're great folks. And I said, everybody I've encountered from Australia I like everybody from Australia. He says, oh, we got some real arseholes. And I actually encountered one that was. I was like, oh, when I did that, I'm like, I ended up telling Greg, I said, I found him. He found who? The arsehole. There's nice people everywhere. There's assholes everywhere. There's people you enjoy playing a game with, and there's win at all cost assholes everywhere. That's not nationality. That's just being a rat bastard. If you're doing a hobby and you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. End of story. It doesn't matter whether you're in one of the shooting sports, building cars, playing pool, playing war games. If you're angry while you're doing something that's supposed to be relaxing, in my opinion, you're not doing it right. You need to find another hobby and not turn other people off. This doesn't pay enough to be angry. Unless you're somebody, what's your hobby? Being angry all the time. Oh, well, you got to work for free then. Justin, we solved all the world's problems and you missed out on it. But for the low monthly subscription of and people don't talk to each other anymore. People don't talk to each other anymore. There's this gaming guy that I got that we ended up going to. He's part of the bigger group of guys we play with. He was like, I don't talk about religion or politics. I showed him, we talked about both, and guess what? We didn't get into an argument. Well, I don't feel really strongly about either subject, so I'm not like on a crusade, So, as long as you're not on a crusade, man, let's talk to each other. And, I really don't care how people feel about politics or religion. Let's just, let's find commonality, not things that bring us apart. Camping is a happy hobby in Michigan. Here it's like for people that misbehaved. It's like, oh, you're an asshole. You get to go camping. Oh man, and the bugs just take you away. You wake up and the cockroaches like move you to another cabin. Not in Florida, man. Like I'd go camping in Colorado. Well, no, I don't want to go camping where there's bears. Yeah, I don't want to go camping where there's bears. I don't have anything that can protect me against a bear, other than being faster than the other guy. Actually, if you had like a sack full of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches you could throw at him, that would probably work. But people are always worried about stuff that's in your area that's not in their area. For instance, if people say, I've had many people say this before. I said, where are you from? Florida. It's like, oh, I don't know how you can live there with all the alligators. I'm like, I've never encountered, it could happen, but I've never encountered an alligator and not wanted to. Right? Like, it's not like I'm wading in a fucking lake. Right? Well, that's their land. I mean, they're supposed to be there. He's wondering, what's this asshole doing here, Only once twice. Twice I've encountered a venomous snake. Okay. I mean, it's not like they're gross. I think snakes are kind of cool. I don't want them all over my body. I don't want to fall into a pit of them. I don't want to have one as a pet, but I think they're cool. Now, flying roaches, you can have those. Camping in 45 degrees is nice, or 35, or 25 degrees. It's probably great in 25 degrees. Okay, well, we painted them all. So you know what that means. We got to make more. Because I don't have one that looks like glue. That's what we're here for. You like what everybody assumes when imagining a Florida man? No, I hate Florida man. Florida man is insulting. I don't like people insulting our state. And people that are the Florida man, there's a New York man too. That's what they put in the newspaper. Hey, you don't like our state? Get the fuck out. We got enough people here as it is. Now, I'm from the South, but I'm not Southern. Okay, so I'm fine with I'm a fan of suburbia. I don't want to live in the big city. I don't want to live in the sticks. I would rather live in the sticks, except I do not want to live on somewhere as a dirt road. I'd never wash my vehicle then. They got Alabama man, they got Arkansas man. I said they got California man, but I don't know if what they do out there makes people a man. You live in the sticks. You don't live that much in the sticks, Justin. You don't live that much in the sticks. And you don't live on a dirt road, do you? Especially now, like, okay, let me give you a difference. 20 years ago, I would would not, if I had a group of people that I played games with, I wouldn't want to leave the area. Because I'd be like, how am I going to find other people to play with? But now I'm like, with the internet, this way that we can communicate with each other, like, as long as I had a good cell phone signal, I don't mind being away from people. You know what I mean? Because it's like, what are the odds that you have a neighbor that he's worth a damn? Youper. Is that a redneck from Michigan? A Youper. Sounds like something they would say in Pittsburgh or something. A Youper. I used to wish that I was a Florida man back when I was stationed in Sydney. There were too many snakes you just randomly find in your living room. Well, the problem with snakes is that they move too damn fast. It's the same problem with those little lizards. They just move too damn fast. One gets in your house, you're fucked. I mean, you're just like, you're never going to find it. And even if you find them, you live on a dirt road? Well, there's hope for you. You can move. I just would never wash my car. Between working at a place that makes things out of concrete and living on a dirt road, I'm just like, fuck it. Let's just get a wagon. Just it would just be hopeless. Where is my blank? There is my blank. Well, I'll grab another one. Oh, there it is. You got to give up looking for something to find it. Happens to all of us. All right, here goes. Let's make 3 more. Oh, landing gear up. Landing gear up and laces out. Shit, I could roll this back up and my wife could make cookies on it. I mean, not that she makes cookies, but we don't need any cookies. Sweets just make you want more sweets. Please read the pot. I don't read anything that has pot in it. There is one of those Hindu things, and I don't know which one it is. And I'm only bringing it up because you brought it up, whoever you are. That when I was going to paint a pre-Vedic, I believe it was Vedic Indian, a Vedic Indian DBA army. It's like their origin story or whatever. And I got this animated one, and it was really pretty, like really pretty for ideas and stuff like that. The Book of Echo. Well, that would be annoying. In the beginning, there was a, Oh, the whole thing is an echo. It's just about echoes. Echolocation. One ping, Vasily. It's not like that Rush song, Test for Echo. I I've never used a Rush reference in a live. You never know. Speaking of landing gears, this month we found our third stowaway guy this year inside of the gear well. It's cold up there. We had a neighbor, friend of the family really, and he lived around the corner from my old house. And he had a pretty decent piece of property. And he used to fly. And he used to fly, let's see if I can describe what he flew. A lawnmower, a parachute with a lawnmower engine, and 4 wheels. Okay, so something pretty light. And a 2-seater, actually. But, no sides. Basically like a go-kart. He didn't make it himself. It's like something commercially made, whatever the hell it's called, right? Paraglider, something like that, yeah. And he would take off, and he had to stop doing it because the pines kept getting higher and higher. And if you caught a wrong wind, he'd get stuck in there. But he's ex-military guy. He's in his 70s now. And he said, and I remember this fondly. He says, "It's for every 1,000 feet, it's 10 degrees colder." Now, it's probably just an average, right? But still, yeah, you talking about jets going way up there, you're going to have a problem. And no oxygen and, EMS gas, lands van. What was he flying from? Gaslands paraglider. Yeah, they have 2, right? Gyrocopter and a helicopter. I don't know what the difference is. I'll probably build one of each. I don't follow the lore of Gaslands because I don't want the only people to have a tank. I'm not super excited to do a tank, right? I've got hundreds of tanks behind me, literally. I don't like the fact that only the military has a tank. I mean, I want to have like a tank for like the team of girls, like Tank Girl or something like that. Or have like, some urban thugs with a tank. Or redneck tank, from Pakistan. Was he alive? That's a long flight. That's a long flight. I think I'd rather escape from Pakistan inside the landing gear than take a regular flight to there and stay there. And there's probably some decent people in Pakistan, but I don't need to go to that country. We're good. Heemeyer Special. World War I Gaslands tank. Yeah, probably. No, all 3 ended up deceased. Only 1 made it in the hospital even. Yeah. I mean, you think that all you got to do is fit in there. And I'm honestly surprised that there's that much extra space around it. Because some things there's like no extra space. So for instance, if you were to take his car and make it for Gaslands and use one of these little nettings, right, like this, and put netting around it, to keep on the inside, a lot of them it won't work. Like the tolerances are so tight. I mean, obviously there's more space in the wheel well, but I guess you work on planes or work at the airport or something like that. Yeah, there's all kinds of... the thing that there's so many videos that involve aircraft. I hate flying because it's surreal. But I don't get airsick. I'm just terrified. I'm terrified of flying. Alcohol works wonders, right? But I don't get sick to my stomach or anything. It's creepy as shit. It is. It's very surreal. It's like being on drugs. You're like, oh, it looks like a train set down there. It's like, it's just... But it's super cool, but it's also super weird. Ground technician. Okay. You can get special CQB training in Pakistan. Close quarter battle training in Pakistan. Yeah, I don't think so. I'm good. I'll stay away from all the stands. Like, I don't really want to visit any countries where like my girls don't have, their full rights. Like, I'm not going there either. Like, nope. Nope. I'm a proud Westerner. You know, if you're over there, yeah, you got to keep your head down. You got to kind of follow the rules that they do, or you don't keep your head down, you may not have a head. But one more. Hey, shit's addictive. Oh, need to get another one. Ammo! Yeah, I really didn't like the Imperial War Museum. I was expecting more out of it. I may have actually been better off going to the RAF one instead, but it was kind of far away. Although it was right next to Hannon's, so I really was in no condition to bring a bunch of shit back though. We live in a time where there's no hurry to go to a store and buy things that you see because you have access to all of it all the time. Pretty much. Only Middle Eastern country I'd visit is the UAE, to be honest. I'm not going to any of them. Nope. Not even Turkey. My ancestors probably wouldn't like me going to Turkey. God, I love Spain. It's the first. This country's great. America is great, okay? It's not perfect, but it's home. But when I went to Canada, when I went to Europe, I felt like I wasn't as excited to be back home because I didn't go to a place that would have been horrible to live in. Does that make sense? And when I went to Spain, I felt the history in my blood. Like I felt like I belonged there. This country's great, but the history here, just not interested. I couldn't care less. You know, I'm not into American Civil War or AWI stuff, or it just, I don't know if it's because, you know, my dad was a first generation American. I love this country, nothing against that, but, he came from somewhere else. And it's not that he didn't want to be part of America, because that really wasn't a thing back then. People came to America because the place that they lived was, you couldn't live there anymore. In his case, his country turned communist. He basically lost everything other than his life. So he had to start over. But the history in Europe is just, it's just amazing. It's just amazing. But the parking sucks. You just pooped yourself. All right, well, have fun wiping. I mean, if you choose to. For the amount of foreign stuff we stole, the museums here are underwhelming. I don't blame you. So, all right, so let's be honest with the whole stealing thing, right? If it hadn't been taken, a lot of it would have been destroyed. Look at all the stuff that ISIS blew up. At least it's saved for other people to see. It's not like you shot the nose off the pyramid with a cannon. off the Sphinx with a cannon. Remember when ISIS went in there and blew up? What did they blow up? Something in Palmyra. Like, what the fuck, man? Not cool. Not cool. Yeah, I went to the British Museum and in and out. We were only there an hour. I mean, we tried to fit everything in. Man, that place was packed. That place was packed. But the Abbey was awesome. The Abbey was awesome. But the Abbey, you need to have a guide. You need to have a. What are those guys not blowing at this point exactly? You need to have a guide because for someone who is not super knowledgeable about history, I'm not going to say that, but I lived with one of them. Um, Stuff is scattered all over the place. So, normally it's like, okay, you'd expect to have this stuff here, but it's like, you've got the kings here and they go in this order, okay, and that makes sense. But like this guy wanted to be buried like right fucking here, And I remember I was going through there and literally I was like looking around and I was talking to my daughter or something, and then I looked down and right at my feet is the tomb. I guess he's entombed there of oh man, now I can't remember what his name is. Livingstone. I'm like, and without missing a beat, I'm like, oh, Livingstone, I presume, But yeah, there's stuff scattered all over the place from Victorian times, nearby something that's medieval, and it's like, it's like a mess. Never seen you paint soldier miniatures. Well, you just haven't watched my channel long enough. I wish you got a chance to see Ireland. It's definitely on the list. That's the most interesting UK country. I don't know if that's, I think all of them are interesting. I think Scotland's interesting. I ain't wearing one of those dresses though. That's not my tradition to keep up. We just wear the poofy pants and the hose, okay? But we wore a steel helmet with it and we got to kill people with a sword. So it kind of balances itself out. I ain't wearing no skirt. How could you not have seen me paint soldier miniatures before? Well, you just came here late. I did it so long, I don't want to do it anymore. Oh my gosh. Let's peel this thing off. Heck, I even have an Irish army. I don't want to bring them down because they're a pain in the ass when they're hidden, but... Oh, this one's good. All right, so I'm going to leave these as glues. I'm not even going to paint them. Let's just use them. Let's use them as they are. Let's give these oil ones a second look. Go nice. Oh man, skirts with those annoying bagpipes. What could you ask for? The skirts look great on the girls. I'm just saying, Just saying. There used to be a band at Disney, in Epcot, and they played out of the Canadian Pavilion, and they were called Off Kilter, and they were supposedly Canadians or whatever, and for whatever reason they wore kilts, right? And they kilts, and what did they wear? Like combat boots or something like that. They didn't have like the socks up all the way to their nads. They just had like combat boots. And they played a mixture of, they played like 80s rock and added the bagpipe in, and it worked, And they were pretty cool. And I think they played at Disney they had that gig for like 20 years or something like that. And they just retired the last 2 years ago or something like that. Start posting information. Come on, man. I already hate my job. Don't make me hate my hobby. Join Facebook and go look at all my pictures. They're all on there, my friend. Don't make me hate my hobby. This is therapy from my work. At least you're not retired, right? I'll listen to you maybe more than somebody retired. Ain't nothing worse than somebody retired. Hey, you should do this. I'm like, look, motherfucker, you're not doing anything. I'll take suggestions from retired people. Don't have Facebook. Why not? It's great for the hobby. They already know all your personal information anyways. They know that you like to go to that website that you shouldn't go to. okay. I go to it as well. Justin's not that much younger. Justin's what, 15 years younger than I am? Mid 30s? Something like that. I had somebody posted the other day, said, what kind of a 42-year-old plays with toys? I said, look, pal, I'm 50 fucking 4, just so you know. I said, well, what kind of a 14-year-old smokes pot? Had a bout of a couple of those people on there, just randos coming on the channel. Oh man, you really should stop talking, or you should not. I don't want to see you painting. It's like somebody knocking on your door, going ding ding, and you answer the door, and they go, "Fuck, you live here." Well, you're the one ringing my doorbell, dude. Get the fuck out. 45 years old, yeah. That ain't young. You're almost the same age ish. You're at the age my brother is. One year younger than my brother. Well, people like to cause trouble. You know, most of us use a hobby to get away from real life, right? Whatever it is that causes us frustration, we go to the hobby to get away from it. You know, to argue and fight with people or go and bother your neighbor, like, I'm too tired, man. I want to just relax. You know, some people drink. I don't drink. I don't have anything against drinking. It just makes me fall asleep. I've had a drink on this show before, you know, sipping on it. I probably should have today, considering how my day ended, but it doesn't solve anything, you know, so I don't drink, basically. So this is my therapy. This is my therapy. And yeah, you know, people that are bored, go have a fucking job, man, and like, do something with yourself. And then you'll be like, man, I'm too tired to. But that's the problem with the internet is people that are nefarious have a voice. And it didn't used to be that way. You know, it used to be like you get bullied at school, and I'm not promoting bullying, but I'm just saying that there's some shit that wouldn't have happened in the 1980s, 1970s and the 1980s. You know, if you were in school in the 1970s and 1980s, in grade school, and you said, I want to be a fucking unicorn, you would have an atomic wedgie. You like camping the most, but not spawn camping. I don't know that I have more than one hobby, really. It's pretty much this. You know, working on models, wargaming, it's kind of the same thing. You know, I don't do enough stuff with cars, really, to have cars as a hobby. I don't do enough shooting sports to really consider that a hobby. I mean, I'm going like once every 6 months. Not really much of a... I don't hunt. Man, I've had a lot of people invite me to go hunting. I don't want to. I don't want to wear a redneck camo. You know, that's where you look like a piece of bark, right? Piece of bark. I don't have anything against hunting. It's not for me. You know, I mean, I hunt when I go to the grocery store. You know. Okay, so we're done with a primer, I think. Let's take one of these and start adding some colors to it. Oh, let me check this to make sure. Hold on one second. I need to take a look at something. Oh, I'll have to get back to this person on that. Okay. You solder computers as a hobby. I don't know how that's called a hobby, bit. a hobby nonetheless. Are you good with like, have you ever made your own computer? Like, that's a valuable skill. Like, I don't think this is a valuable skill, right? I'm sure it can extrapolate into other things. I mean, I do artsy shit, right? I mean, I don't, pretend I'm a unicorn or a butterfly or none of that shit, or wear tights or. Gotta be specific, because. But like, if you're into cars, that's a useful fucking skill, right? Oh, my car's making a funny noise. You have a clue. You may not know how to fix it, but you know what it isn't. And I'm not, you know, I can do enough different stuff with cars with the internet. You know, I've done some stuff with my car on the internet. And I'm also, don't know enough to say that I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to get involved in that. All right, let's mix this up. Let's mix this up a potion. And what I'm really good at is mixing colors. Well, I think I'm good at it. Because I've been doing it for 40 freaking years. All right, let's get a brown, and I don't mind if it has a little red in it. It might actually be advantageous. Oh, excuse me, but this is real brown. You collect 38 specials. How many do you have? How many do you have to have a collection? What if I told you I sold one? I had one handed to me, and it was an Airlight 38 special. What was it? Hammerless. I don't know what else model it was. I had to join the Smith & Wesson forum to find out what the hell it was. And it wasn't any fun to shoot. And 12, you collect them. You collect them. I'm not that good of a shot. I'm a safe shooter, but I like suppressive fire. So 20 rounds for me, please. Not 5. Now, the guys that can reload those things with moon clips, that's impressive. It's really impressive. They're really good, but, they can't paint. They'd be lost at this table. That's a lot of practice. And the ammo on 38 Special is too expensive. I'm basically like, it's 9mm or bust. Because everything else is just too expensive. Like 380 costs more than 9mm, less capacity. Forget stopping power. Like, because I just kill cardboard. Daughter wants to do that this weekend, so we'll see if we can work that in. We'll see if we can work that in. Got to go buy ammo. Who knows how much that's going? Who knows how much that's going for? And no interest in reloading. I already have a hobby that takes a lot of time, and I don't have like propellant sitting around. Right? This is all like acrylic. Can you get some acrylic propellant? No. So making this a little bit brown. 12 speed loader. Not moon clips. Well, whatever. Those guys are they're really impressive, but it's just a skill that, you can't do everything, right? So you got to pick what you're going to have time for, and well, I picked this. My line of job destroyed your social life because most planes land during afternoons and get service overnight. You go home to sleep from 7 a.m. till midday. Yeah. You gonna retire soon though? Yeah, you can go shopping though for groceries when nobody's at the store, assuming it's open yet. I worked night shift 1 week a long time ago when I first started this job, just as a thing, right? And I liked it, but I didn't have a fucking family, you know, and I only did it for 1 week, so it didn't really fuck up your social life. Not that, you know, it was that important to it, you know, but you know, like Mitch. You know, Mitch is off on Mondays and Tuesdays. Well, that's his weekend. So anytime I want to do something on a weekend, he's not really available unless it takes time off. It's like, man, you're not doing anything with anybody. Well, he has a bunch of retired people that can come over and play whenever his schedule works. So that works for him. But you're not playing with anybody young. I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to change this at all, the color on it. What we are going to do is we're going to use something I don't think I've ever used on this channel ever before. And I think I have it. And it's something that, let's see if I have it. And that's gloss coat, but it needs to be acrylic. I have retarder. I have more retarder. More retarder. Why do I have 3 things of retarder? That's a lot of retarder! I must have it. You know what? It's probably an enamel, which means I can't use that. All right. Let me see if I can let me use the internets. Is Vallejo, what's that stuff called? Glaze medium glossy. Yes, the standard Vallejo glaze medium dries to a silky, low sheen or satiny finish, not a high gloss foam. Well, that's not really what I wanted. I don't think I have any. There's no reason for me to have any, other than now. I don't dare put enamel on it. That would just crackle and go to hell. Man, I don't really want to buy any. And I'd like to see what this looks like now. Satin, huh? Well, this isn't satin. Let me pull a little bit on it, see what happens. Now, I know I have gloss coat, but in down here, and it's probably, well, let me look. Flat clear. I wasn't expecting to find that. That's acrylic. Hobby tack. Enamel brush cleaner. Dull coat, top coat. Matte medium. A lot of that. That's not the right direction. I don't even have enamel gloss. Well, let me just pick some up. Damn it! But I can't finish it. Pure coincidence. Awesome. Well, timing is everything, my friend. I have the patience for this. I would not have the patience to work on computer programming. Because if this is slow, I'm making steady progress. right? I don't want to be like all of a sudden, like you work on something like, oh, it's gone. Let's see. Let's put this on a surface. Let's put this on, where's that surface that we take photos on? There's basically the back of a mouse pad. I do this basically to stay on topic. Like if I'm not running the show, I'll be in 15 minutes and then I'll think about something and go squirrel, and then the next thing you know, I'm not painting anymore. So I do this it forces me to stay on. I don't want to leave you guys hanging, you know? Well, that's really dark, but it's kind of glossy. It's kind of glossy. All right. So that's what we'll use for oil. I sent an email to my buddy Don. I said, hey, you want to fly, what is it that we fly? What's the name of that game? War Thunder. He's an ex-pilot, and we have a lot of fun playing that. Because we're both World War II nuts. So we talk about World War II shit the whole time. I didn't play with him like a month. And he didn't respond back. So maybe he said a couple days ago that Thursday was good for him, but he's a late owl. He'd be like, okay, let's play at 11. I'm like, I gotta go to bed, man. I can't stay up late. You're the one that's, retired, man. You should be like going to sleep early. Nope. Everybody's a night owl all of a sudden. I was too in my 20s. All right, I'm not going to go fire up the airbrush, right? Let's hand prime this thing. And worst case scenario, we will, now you know what? Fuck it, let's bring you guys want to go to the painting session? Let's go do a painting session in the garage. Let's go do a painting session in the garage. Let's go do that. We'll bring this, we'll prime all this shit. And that way tomorrow morning we can work on this smoke. I think this smoke is going to look spectacular. I really do. I just got one of them. So let's do that. Shit, how am I going to do this? Fuck it, we'll do it live. Where is the charger? We're going to need the charger. Okay, we are unplugged from a power source. Can we pause this thing somehow? So you guys are probably looking at I'm not taking you of a tour of the house with underwear everywhere. No, a house is neat, but let's take this cord with us. This is good practice. I'll leave the computer on in here, even though I won't look at the comments. So hopefully we do not get a freeze situation on the screen, because I won't be able to see what your comments are. And let's unplug this light. And we'll take this tray and go outside. Oh, need to get my shoes. I'm not Mitch. I paint and wear shoes. I don't wear them in the house, but I'm going to the garage. I don't want to have dirty feet. Know what I'm saying? All right, this light's on. We got to get plugged back in before we lose power. Now, this thing's at 100%, or was. Still is, actually, according to this. All right, let's plug this back in. All right. And I am a airbrushing amateur. Yeah, your videos don't have anybody talking. Do you have a weird voice or something? You sound like John Travolta or something? Yeah, No, the videos, okay, the videos with not talking, I'm okay with. But there's some people out there that, there's one guy that does like Hot Wheels unboxings, right? And he puts gloves on. And I'm like, I don't understand why. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but he's got like black gloves. You never see his face or anything. So I'm wondering, like, does he have tattoos of like, swastikas or something on there? Like he doesn't want people to see his hands or something? I don't have beautiful hands or anything, but I don't feel like I have to hide them or anything, But hey, do whatever you want. Okay, here we are in the studio, the outside studio. This didn't go down. All right, we're going to fire up the airbrush. I'm going to run about 40 psi, and I have an Iwata HPCS airbrush, and we'll see if we have a jam or not. We probably will, because this primer stuff is very thick. It's the same primer I used inside. And one of the things, if you have an airbrush, one of the things that's super handy is having this device here that allows you to pull the airbrush off and still maintain pressure. Okay, so this is be 40 psi. Something happens here with the jam, and I need to clean this. I don't have to get all the air out and then build it back up. It stays built up. Okay, so I've used this several times without cleaning it, so it's not like it's super dirty or anything, but we could have a jam in it. All right, is there anything to drink out here? And no, I don't mean adult beverage-wise. An agua. How about an agua? All right, we have a half-drunk agua. That'll work. Because I always drink a lot of liquids. All right. So we got our airbrush fired up here. Let's make sure that it works properly since the last time I used it. Now I've just been spraying clear through here, and what I don't like to take the whole thing apart and clean it when I'm using very little. Obviously, we clean it and rinse it and everything, but there's always a little bit of a residue. So the one thing you want to check is to make sure that if you put any fluid, in this case it's cleaner, and it is a double action airbrush. So when you press down, you want to make sure, and not pull back, you want to make sure that no liquid comes out. If it does, it means you don't have a good seal on the end and we have to take it apart. So nothing, okay? And then as you pull back, we have liquid, okay? So we'll continue using it until that problem develops. And it will happen eventually. And it doesn't take that long to take it apart. Maybe 10-minute clean, maybe not even 10 minutes. Last time I did it was really, really quick. So we're gonna run all that stuff out, and we're gonna use Vallejo primer, which is not my preference. My preference is actually use this, but I'm out of it. It's also possible, I guess I'd rather stay away from content creation. Only reason I did it was to stay on track, and maybe it's an aside thing is maybe to give something back to the community, because let's be honest, I've been inspired by a lot of people online. Okay, let's get our body cavity search glove, but we're only going to go in one-handed. Just makes the cleanup a little easier. All right, we're going to use this magic fluid. Let's put the primer, let's put that clear away from it. I call this the Abbas Magic Mix. There's a guy on there. His name is Khurram Abbas. I think that's how you say his name. And he came up with this fluid. It's a mixture of different things that keeps all acrylic stuff, and I do mean all acrylic stuff, including, what do you call that stuff? The cheap paint, craft paint, from tip drying and creating an issue for you, okay? So with the primer, with most paint, it's 50-50 is what he suggests. With a primer, it's 30% and then 70% of this. So we're gonna put that in first, so you make sure you don't, we're gonna mix it on the fly here, okay? So maybe about 30% of it, and then the rest of it is this stuff right here. I'm good with streaming. I've done it for a while. Now, like I said, I do it to... What I'm not good at is doing really complicated shit. you know, because some of the streaming things are easier to use than others. And sometimes those damn nerds make things too damn difficult for us mortals to use. All right, so we have our mix. We mixed it in there. Let's see how we got here. Some of the primer alone is going in there, maybe a little bit of the fluid. There we go. I got really good lines until I want to do some kind of like crazy German camouflage, and then it goes like this. I make mistakes all the damn time, but hopefully I get better at it as I go. I've only been airbrushing for a couple of years, but all right. So the first thing we want to do is we want to prime all this stuff. So I'm going to flip them all upside down, and here we go. Whoa, we have a problem, Houston. We almost had liftoff there. All right, we need some stickum then. Do I have? I know I should have stickum out here, and all that is white tack or blue tack. Mine happens to be white, and I don't have any here. And I really don't want to go back inside, but I may have to. Let's see if we can get away with not doing it. Let's hold it down. So let's get the edges. And this is all acrylic paint. I don't use enamels. You know, I had one guy, I was trying to be a member of this one group, and we had this chat, and the guy pissed me off. He's like, well, you're still using acrylics or whatever. Like he had some kind of holier than thou thing. It's like, look, acrylics were invented in the 1980s, and as soon as they were invented, I used them. I don't want to pay for thinner. All my thinner is free. All my cleanup is free. You know, and I'm fine with there being enamels. More options are better for the consumer. But he was like, oh, you don't know what you're doing. You're not using enamels. Okay. Dick. Have a splendid evening, guys. Almost daytime here. See you next stream. All right, man. Thanks for coming by. I assume you subscribed. Pleasure having you, man. So we're just going to go over this. This is literally the bottom. Okay, so in case Marcus is watching, where the hell is Marcus anyways? We are painting the bottom. Okay. We are airbrushing these. It doesn't look like it has much on it, but they're little minefields they're templates for Gaslands. We're just putting the primer color down. Works a lot better with the airbrush than with the brush paint. Now, this Karam Magic liquid, ever since I found out about it, I've been using it. Not once have I had a tip dry issue with it. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it made airbrushing so much less frustrating. Making Semtex. Well, that would be the stick, the white stuff. Okay. And then we'll flip these things over when they dry. Which shouldn't be long. We're not laying this paint on here super heavy. Stickies are awesome. Yeah, like the white tack. It's really useful product, and it's totally reusable. This is just a blank. I'm not going to paint it right now. This has little lines on it. I mean, they're really sharp. Like you could feel them through the gloves. These are from Creepy Hero Studios. They are a 3D printer company. I'm sure it's an individual person in upstate New York, and they sell on Etsy, and they're pretty reasonably priced. And they just got this stuff the other day. I'm not going to paint these oil ones just yet. Okay, we made our own oils. Actually, this looks like glue. Honestly, I don't have a glue weapon yet. I got 12 things from him, or 12 packs of different things. Only one of them was disappointed. I think it was just an old mold that he had, and it was really crude looking. You could see all like the FDM on it. The only thing I don't like about this is that I'm going to have to paint the ground. And the problem with painting the ground is I'm going to paint it like a dirt color. And if we're playing on the factory floor, it's going to look a little out of place. But whatever. It is just a game, you know? Privet. What do we have here? Good evening, Vladimir. And of course, this will be painted over. I prime everything black. And why do you prime everything? That's another thing. People argue with you how you do things. Look, I do things a way. I don't need to convert the way I do things for somebody else. If you're happy the way you do things, that's me too. I'm not on a crusade for anything, right? People are like, you need to prime in white. Look, Heavy Metal Painting Guide came out around 1993, and I don't do Games Workshop stuff, but it makes sense for me to prime everything in black. That's how I operate. Doesn't matter what it is. And that's just how I roll. Okay, the smoke. Okay, this is, and we sanded this down a little bit, this is 3D printed. If I can, maybe you can see a little bit more. And it's a little bit, it has a little bit like, it looks a little Minecrafty, right? So we tried to sand some of it down. I think this is going to look spectacular. Privet is hello. Okay, in what language? French? I don't know. It's not a language that I know. I only speak 2 languages and make fun of a bunch of other ones. So this ought to look great. All right, and if it does, I will order more. So let's we won't paint the underside of this thing, but we will paint the edge. Now, I'll be honest with you. I don't think this primer is very durable. But I think it's durable enough to have other colors be painted on it, and then you seal it, and I have not had an issue with paint coming off. And I'd be still using rattle cans if the quality of rattle cans didn't go to shit, you know? Oh, we talked about dildo this morning, man. Dildo would be a good name. What did I say this morning? Dildo would be a good name for a guy who has multiple pickle factories. Like if he was like he was like a big money roller of pickle factories, and he'd be Dildo. Okay, just something like that. All right, we'll leave that alone. It'll dry in no time. What else we got? We got a little bit. Man, this thing is prickly. This is supposed to be napalm. Now the napalm fits on this size, right? So if you use this, as a matter of fact, I am going to go ahead and paint this base, and this will end up being glued on top of it. So we'll probably, put something on there so it's part of this. But this whole thing is, napalm. You have to poop. Be right back. Toilet. Make it a big one. Like I say, if you're going to be a dick, be a big dick, because nobody likes a little dick. And if you're going to have a wife, might as well have a big poop. I saw a really disturbing video on Facebook today about pooping. It wasn't that it was disturbing. It was just, it had graphics I wasn't expecting to be for the public. And it wasn't inappropriate or anything, but it did show a turd. In prehistoric man or something like that. I don't know. I saved it so I can show it to the wife later. Whenever she gets back. Wife's out for several days, so she's a traveling. Oh, look, I missed one. Let's take a swig of water. Vladimir, are you from one of the countries that makes vodka? If so, subscribe and we'll do a vodka. I've had that before. I've painted Russians before and had little sips of vodka as I was doing it. It's part of the experience. Didn't even get lit. Had some vodka neat. Oh, we're out. Okay? We're out, but it looks like there's stuff in there, so it might just be air. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give this a rinse. You live in St. Petersburg, all right? My daughter goes to school in St. Petersburg. Wrong St. Petersburg, though. They have a store in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's called Vladimir's, as a matter of fact. And it is a really cool store. It has a bunch of Russian memorabilia things. They have stuff from the Great Patriotic War. Yes, I know what it's called. I'm a World War II nut. And all kinds of stuff. Really interesting things in there. But there was a woman behind the counter that looked like NKVD took the rest of her family out and shot her. This is not in a really good mood. But it is a really cool store. And it's actually really cute on the outside, too. It's cute on the inside as well. It's got all the that whole Kremlin-looking-ish, but it actually looks like one of the churches. It's all white and blue and cool store. Grumpy woman in there, behind there. Grumpy woman. Okay. Need a little bit more. Want to make sure we don't have a jam. I'm trying everything possible so we don't have to take this apart and clean it. We're not doing any precise airbrushing. We're just using this instead of a rattle can that is just crap. It's just crap quality. I just happen to have that here. I don't know what the hell we used it for. Priming something, but it was not model related. I used to use Model Master stuff all the time, and then Rust-Oleum bought Model Master and discontinued it. They bought Testers and discontinued the Model Master line. Like, I used Model Master stuff forever, and it was like good quality. Still stank, but didn't stink to high heaven like the airbrush stuff. Like, it just smells like toxic. It's the difference between like if you're using like Tamiya liquid glue, right? The liquid, what's that called? Extra thin glue. Like, it has a smell. It's not unpleasant, but it does have a smell. And like acetone, which also has a smell, but you feel like it's killing you, So it's kind of the same thing. So I went away and got an airbrush, and I used it. All of my priming and clear coating duties I do with the airbrush for sure. Potato vodka is good. Gaslands Hearst car. I have not had potato vodka. So let me tell you, true story. I don't make up shit. I don't need to. A game convention that we go to in Orlando a year ago. a year ago, year and a half ago. Um, there's this. I don't drink often. I like drinking because, well, I become a better person. I'm a lot happier when I do. I don't get angry or anything when I drink. I don't have much reason to drink other than at work, and I can't drink at work. But anyways, regardless, we went out to dinner at this place that is not around anymore, but they had 32 ounce or 40 ounce beer. And there's a beer that they have in Orlando called Orange Blossom Pilsner, and it is spectacularly smooth. And I had like two of those. So I was like feeling pretty good. Go back to the convention, and one guy says, "Hey, do you like scotch or whiskey or bourbon?" I forget which one it was. I said, "Yeah, yeah." Well, go see Renee over there. He's got some. So I'm like, "Hey, Renee, you got some?" He's like, "Oh, well, no, I'm out, but I have this Russian Standard vodka." This was like 2 years ago or something like that. And he had this big bottle of Russian Standard vodka, and it looks cool because it's got a double-headed eagle, and I have a double-headed eagle on my crest, luckily. And not that I'm Russian, but not there's anything wrong with that. But oh. There we go. And I'm like, all right, I'll try that. So I got a solo cup. He poured me a solo cup, probably 2 or 3 inches of it. And I sipped on it, and I've never had vodka neat, right? It's always been mixed with something. And I sipped on that for the next 3 hours, and it sobered me up. It sobered me up from the beer thing, and I felt great. So, yeah, I do not mind vodka at all. I'll drink it straight. But, we're not doing shots of it. You're enjoying it, I picked up this vodka at the liquor store a couple of months ago from Austria, and it's superb. And I just got gifted some Kettle One, and it's pretty good too. So, can't find Russian vodka because, you know why. But as soon as we get a chance to, I'll probably get some because I like having it while I'm painting a shitload of T-34s or something like that, You Americans so crafty always. Every American I have met either did wood turning, sculpting, or something. Well, not everybody, but, you're just meeting all the good Americans. How about that? There's sorry people here that are no good at anything. You Americans so crafty. I love playing Russians. They're fun. Especially in World War II. I love Eastern Front stuff. Well, I don't love it like, hey, it's great that millions of people died. No, it's just super interesting. Whoop! I have a flyaway here. And I'm glad you're here. I am going to have, and I keep forgetting this, I am going to have a Russian team for Gaslands. And you know what they're called? The Gremlins from the Kremlin. And if you don't know what that's about, it's the Bugs Bunny cartoon where, he's flying and you got Hitler and he's going to attack the Russians under these little midget little gremlins or whatever, and he basically goes fucking mad. But it's Hitler, so he goes extra fucking mad, and they just harass the hell out of him, and it's really funny. So Gremlins from the Kremlin. They probably should all drive Gremlins. AMC Gremlins. That accent, you might just be a Russian at heart. Well, I don't know about that, but you put double-headed eagles on stuff, and I'm all in. I love that shit. Hey, you guys fought the damn Turks, too. And I've never been to an Orthodox, like Greek church or anything like that, or Russian Orthodox, but I'd like to, because I love the art. I think the art is super cool. And I have a, man, I'm telling you, you stop gaming something and you forget the names of things. The Russian army that I have a medieval Russian army with, what's his face? The Alexander Nevsky. I have an Alexander Nevsky army, and they are beautiful. Show him some tanks. I like this guy. I like this guy. Kill him last. Show him some tanks. Oh man, I can't go. I can't go in there. I got a shitload of so. All right, I'll show you some Soviet tanks. All right, that's what we're here for, man. Hang out. We will going to block the camera, and I have to make it quick because I don't have this connected to anything. But I'm probably going to flip the video, and that way you guys will get a really good view. Justin's already seen this stuff before. I am a World War II nut. All 1/72nd scale, and we are back in the office. So we're going to flip the case where I keep Aguilar. Okay, good. This is the case where I keep all my 1/72nd scale stuff. And we have lots of Russian things. Okay. So we have some buildings up here, right? And these are some... I went to Spain, and one of my followers or whatever was like, hey, here, have some Czech 38s. Okay, so we got all the Axis guys over here, except the desert rats. The desert rats somehow found themselves surrounded by fascists. Okay, and we have all the Russian. Here's the Russian stuff here. So these are all T-34s of different varieties. All 1/72nd scale. Some are plastic. Some are white metal. Some are winter. These are some of my favorite. All hand painted. Oh shit, you're Russian. And I mean, that's a good oh shit. So I don't speak Russian, but I write Russian things on things. So you can tell me how good I did. I believe this says for Soviet Moldova, which this was part of a tank brigade, then every single one of the tanks would have had the same writing on it. No. There's so many interesting ways these things could look, it would be ridiculous to just to write that on there. Okay, so I'm going to point out some of the ones that have some Russian script, and hopefully I did a good job. I tried to. Here's another one. For the motherland. That's solid text. Kill that guy last. Hey, let me live. I have good entertainment value. We have, so these are all mostly T-34s back there. Okay. So my daughter had a roommate that was from Macedonia. And I was working on this stuff at the time. And she goes, why the hell does he say, is it this one? Why does the tank say Tiger Tamer? Well, in one of the Call of Duty games, one of the tanks that you play says Tiger Tamer on it. So I figured out, okay, how do you write Tiger Tamer in Cyrillic? So I did. So I guess I did a good enough job if she's like, oh, how do you know that? What else has a right? Oh, that's a decal. That's cheating. Let's see. This one here. KV1. KV1 with rivets. We got another one down here with writing on it. Let's see. All I'm doing is find stuff on the internet. And if it's correct on the internet, all I'm just doing is transferring it over. And you just take one stroke at a time. I chose the masculine form too. I got lucky, I guess. What do we got down here? We got more Soviets. T-34, T-35s. Now the T-35s, these happen to actually be 1/87 scale, but I got these for $1 a piece. I'm like, oh my gosh, how could you not pick these up for $1 a piece? They're gorgeous, and they got drippings and rust and stuff on them. I'll work on all these on my channel. I'm taking a little break from World War II stuff. T-70s back here, T-26s, BTs, Soviet trucks. We have that one. That's a pre-made one. We got some Brits down here. Oh, look, a stegosaur. Okay, gray Germans and the yellow Germans and more yellow Germans and the desert rats in an Italian house, but the desert rats. Do I have any Sukhois or MiGs? No. Hold on a second. No, I got an IL-15 that I'm building, but it's not painted yet. I like playing the Russian planes in War Thunder, if that counts. I have a crashed ME-109. This is the Africa Corps up here, along with some Gasland vehicles. The Amerikaners are up here. Yeah, good. And I have a lot of stuff, for instance, that's not in here. I have a lot of things that can't show you in here. Look, I got stacks of stuff that's damn near finished. So we got more. This is the first thing I painted in snow. You know, and it's faded snow. I don't want it to be like super bright. SU-85. Oh, here's another one. T-30-45. I got all kinds of shit. All kinds of stuff. Where's that Soviet plane? Here it is. The problem is the decals went to shit. Old model, and decals got crappy. So I got the 14. The 14 came out. Oh, that's hand painted. No, it's not. That's the decal. But the red stars are ruined. You know, you could see where I put the gloss coat on there and put them on there. They just shattered. They're too old. You know, but whether it's not done yet. But anyhow, yep, I got all World War II books and stuff like that. Anyhow, Illusion. What a loss of a company that was. Them and Tupolev. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, I like the Eastern Front stuff a lot. It's super interesting. And okay, let's go back out to the garage. I don't mind doing shit like that, especially if you guys are interested. It should be inspiring. Oh man, I could do that. It's cheap hobby, man. Just cheap hobby. You got to do something. You know, I picked up a lot of these kits like really, really cheap. Because the thing is, if I can find somebody selling them, it's yesterday's scale. Like, oh, I don't do 72nd scale tanks anymore. That's old school. I'm like, okay, well, I never built them to begin with, and that's the scale that I like to war game in. You know, and I'm not changing. You know. All right, let's flip this bitch over. All right. Back to what we were doing. Hope this didn't jam up on me. Whatever. If it did, who cares? We have some unexploded bombs that you can use for decor. If I did not have this thinner in here, this probably would have gummed up. But Mr. Abbas's formula is pretty solid. I wrote him, I said, man, your formula is so good, it even works on craft paint. He didn't know that. Oh yeah, it works on everything. It's acrylic. Oh, hold on a second. Nope, it's not what I was expecting. Well, you know, the thing is about the internet, we can all help each other out. Right? You can have a problem, you can't figure out how to paint something, and you can learn from each other. And then after a while, you know a lot of tips of what doesn't work, right? And so you try not to make those mistakes because they just involve more time you have to spend fixing things. You know, it's the internet and sharing our experiences with our hobby allows us to knock it out of the park on the first try. Okay, it's helpful for that. And I don't mind giving away all my quote-unquote secrets because what am I going to do? Take them to the grave? You know? So, All right, we're going to hold this. And what are the odds if this bomb stuck in the ground didn't explode? It's a fantasy setting, you know. But I do need to get. I don't have a gremlin, and I do need to have, you know, a Russian team would be good. But I don't want to do. You know, the same way my Germans. I don't have any World War II crap of my German team for this, because there's more in Germany than it is between 1914 and 1945, right? Just like, you know, I can do Russian stuff, and you don't have to. It doesn't have to be the modern stuff. It doesn't have to be commie crap. You know, it can be, you know, the glorious Russian stuff. So, yeah, as I don't like that whole hammer and sickle. I do like the Red Star. I think the Red Star pretty badass looking. So. Don't really do modern stuff, although I do have a soft side for MiG-23s. I think MiG-23s look very good. I know they're not a great aircraft. Who cares? I build stuff because I like how it looks, not necessarily how good it is. I like MiG-23s a lot. It's a sexy aircraft. It's badass. I'll paint this thing, even though it's like a splooge or something. And I'm not one of those people that's like, you go and they'll see them and all they do is they build German tanks. I'm like, listen, you got to build stuff from both sides. You know, you got to build, you can't just like Germans and a side of Germans. I said, okay, cool. They have cool paint schemes, but so do Shermans, so do T-34s, you know, and it's like, if you make them boring, that's on you, right? Like all my Shermans have nicknames on them. It's like they all have a personality. I mean, sure, they're in that olive drab color and that isn't super exciting, but, you know, you can't make a bunch of drab stuff and have people excited to play them, you know? So, like, even though a whole tank brigade of Russian tanks probably was labeled about the same, without the numbers, they would have different numbers on them and stuff. But if they had, like, a slogan, they probably all had the same slogan. You can't do that because then it's just, you know, not exciting, you know? So, another bomb! I love the F-18 and F-16 from you guys, from Boeing, and F-22 from what it was, Lockheed, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't really care much for modern aircraft, really, because I don't really game modern stuff. It's a little bit too much technology and not enough brute force. And that's why World War II is so great, because I think it's a good combination of both. You get something not Napoleonic, too much brute force. You know, like it's just not, it just doesn't interest me. You know, lots of people are into Napoleonic stuff. No, I'm not. Now, the one thing that I came really close to getting involved in was doing Victorian stuff in Afghanistan. And I don't mean just the British versus the natives, but Afghanistan is a place where you could have had Russians and British and the natives all trading with you. But it's like, I can't do everything, you know? And there's like really not any vehicles of that time period. And, you know, it's going to cut into doing other stuff. So, all right. We can go ahead and flip these guys over, do the front side, and then when we're done with that, we're probably going to be done for the night. But we'll at least have this paint on it. We'll probably start tomorrow morning dry brushing the smoke, which, by the way, is going to be relatively dark anyways. I'm more of a Spitfire guy. Well, I mean, if I have to like aircraft, I like playing aircraft a lot in, what's that thing called? War Thunder. A lot. Including the Russian aircraft. And I had a surprise when I was playing the Russian aircraft. I got into an IL-237 with two 37mm guns and lots of ammo for them, and that was wicked cool. But, you know, even the biplanes, the Russian biplanes in that are really good. They got these really fast they've got these really fast-firing machine guns that, you know, they're a lot more powerful than they look like they would be. Oh, we're opening this all the way up. We're having to open all this way up for it to go, so it's definitely getting gummy. Which means I may have to stop at some point and clean this thing out. We'll see if we can get all this done without that happening first. Pick up some landmines here. Shame we need VPN here to play Western games. Adds so much latency, you get shot, and you know how shot 3 seconds later. Yep. You have to have VPN so you're not in a blocked area. Yeah. That sucks. Well, hopefully you're staying safe wherever you are. Yeah, see, I'm opening this all the way up. Oh, there we go. Yes, I certainly was. And, and it was jamming, and then it opened up again. That's a sign that it's getting some, it's letting some of those impurities through around the needle, because the needle's getting dirty. So let's try to make quick work of this and not get stuck on that. Because it's getting to be, well, past my bedtime. It's after 10, and I will be up at 5 a.m. to do my show. I do my shows in the mornings because that way, if you have a rotten day, at least you started off in the right direction. Now, I'm going to go ahead and rinse the inside of this so that we don't have a jam session, hopefully. And use the water brush that came with. I don't know what the heck is special about this brush, but I can pretty much be rough with it, and it still maintains its shape. This one came with the airbrush, and it is rock solid. I'd probably buy one. That's how good this thing is. But I've used it so much, look, it still maintains its shape. First world problem, yep. And I don't dislike the Russians. I don't have a problem with them. It's the CCP guys I don't like. And I love Chinese history. I just don't like the modern guys. No. That's the only planes I haven't flown. I haven't flown the Chinese planes. Oh, see, look, I fucked up. Okay, I'm supposed to add the Kuram magic mix first. Well, we'll see what happens when you add it afterwards. Let's mix this up good. Yeah, so if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe, and anytime I'm on, you'll get notified, and maybe you'll want to come in and participate. I'm not smart enough to do some kind of a Discord or anything with people talking. And then the problem is some of you, like I can tell you know how to behave, but some people don't. Some people can't. They're just, spoiled children. No, I know they're not really friends. I mean, Russia and China have never been friends. It's just, enemy of my enemy. Enemy of your enemy is still your enemy. I never understood. I mean, there's things at work that we're all not privy to. But I figured for sure when the Soviet Union fell, like, Let them join NATO. We can be buddies. I mean, we can, I mean, Russia has terrorists and stuff that attack them. Like, why can't we be on the same side? So there must be other shit at play, you know? I mean, if the U.S. could be friends with the Russians when they had Stalin, surely anybody's more reasonable. That guy was a dick to everybody. He killed plenty of Russians as it is. There's some short people with mustaches, man. You can't deal with those guys. Did I know Heino from Germany? He sings the song Schwarz-Braun ist der Hase. No clue. That's all drama. Yeah, the media wants you to, and the media wants you to hate people. Like, hey, look at that guy. See that guy is different from you? You should dislike him. Like, hey, I already have a list of people I don't like. I don't need to add more people to it. Come on, see, it's already misbehaving now. Come on. I just need a little bit more. Just a little bit. Only one ping, Vasily. Just a little bit more. Of course, I'm still going to have to clean this when I'm done, but I don't want to clean it and get it dirty again. Yeah, it's like taking a shower and then having to go take a poop. Like, dude, I just wiped my ass. I'm clean, not anymore. Well, I'm not a typical American. There's dumb people anywhere, you know? You got lots of peasants in your country too. We have them here. You see that? We're reaching end of line, comrade. I think, is this the last one? Yes. All right. We can do it. Yeah, see, we'll clean this little guy up completely. Now, had I not been using this fluid, I would have gone through half of these probably with a jam session. Let's get the end of this. Oh, Snapdragon was a little wet. Well, honestly, it won't matter. We're going to paint over it. We just need some of this primer on there so it'll grab. Okay, right. We'll get up. All right, pour that out. Give this a good scrub. Now, this is what I was talking about, the pressure. We can go ahead and just unhook there. It's still building up to 40 psi. Yeah, I run it really high through this stuff so it avoids these jams. We'll give it a rinse of this, of the cleaner that I make myself with a recipe from a genius on the internet whose name always escapes me. Otto Carius. I read his memoirs. Wasn't that exciting. I remember reading Hans Ulrich Rudels. It just, I don't like reading things that are obvious, like I'm the best thing since sliced bread, and if this country would have had more of these, we would have won kind of stuff. I just, I'm not 7 years old anymore. I don't like the German propaganda stuff from World War II, Manstein and things like that. And I also don't like modern Russian movies. Although the T-34 movie is awesome. The T-34 movie is like the best movie ever for special effects ever created. The story is sheer garbage, but the special effects on that T-34 movie are insane. I hope they make more, because that reminds me of how I like to play my World War II stuff. It's like, okay, roll. Do you hit the tank? Yes. Where do you hit? Oh, I hit the side of the turret. All right, roll to see to shock the crew. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Story was garbage, though.
history is so cool, you don't have to make things up. Okay? History is so neat, you don't have to make things up. Hollywood doesn't have to make things up. They do the same bullshit here. You know? Just tell it as best we know it. And it's learning. You're learning stuff, you know? But that's why I get annoyed with history things, because if you see something like, Pearl Harbor or something like that, or any movie it is, it's odds are that's what most people, the only thing that they're going to watch about it. So if it's inherently wrong, you're basically spitting out wrong info to everybody. It's like, dude, do it like Rome, okay? The miniseries Rome. The miniseries Rome is excellent because they made a big effort to make it look realistic, and then they added this storyline, for, ladies and people that aren't super interested in the history to follow along. But that just adds extra color to it, But there's very few things that are done, I'd say, as well as the Rome miniseries. I think the Rome miniseries is better than, get ready, keep your pants on, than Band of Brothers. It is, and I'm a World War II guy, and Band of Brothers is great, but the Rome miniseries is superb. Absolutely superb. Despite who they cast as Julius Caesar. I would not have cast that guy as Julius Caesar. Of course, Mark Antony, the guy that plays Mark Antony, steals every scene he's in. What else have I read? I read one of the best books, although it's fantasy. I probably need to read it again. I wish it was on Audible. Is this book, and it's historical fiction, called The Berkut. And The Berkut has, I have the book somewhere, even though it has a crooked spider on the cover, which doesn't bother me, but you can't show that stuff on the internet. People get all up in arms about it. The Berkut is about Hitler escaping the bunker, and I'm going to say it's an NKVD guy. I don't know if he's actually an NKVD guy, but it's basically The Fugitive. It's basically The Fugitive, but Hitler is the fugitive. And you've got this Skorzeny type guy that's helping him escape. So basically there's I'm going to spoil it for you. I'm sorry, it's been out forever. There's like a body double, and they take the real Hitler and shave him down and shave his mustache, and it's him escaping the bunker, and it's super interesting. It's one of the few novels I've actually read. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good, and that's all I'm gonna say. It's worth. What the time that I read it, I thought it was awesome, and I didn't read it that long ago, so it wasn't like I was a kid or something like that. I was ignorant. I thought it was pretty interesting. So it's basically like the movie The Fugitive, or at least what I remember of the movie The Fugitive. No Harrison Ford in it. Yeah, and Harrison Ford, right, The Fugitive, he didn't do anything wrong, right? Hitler did plenty wrong. We can all agree with that. We can all agree with that. All right, this, I believe, should be clean enough. We can see light through here. It should be clean enough to go through, so we're going to load this back asswards. That way you don't mess up the needle. And we'll test it, and that way it's ready to go next time. Now, you can hand tighten this, but the way an airbrush works is the air is going to follow the path of least resistance. So if this isn't really tight, it's going to leak through there before the end, and it's not going to get, the air's not going to go where you need to go, and it won't work, in a nutshell. Okay? So we're going to put this back together. It's already at the pressure we need it to be. Okay? Let's put this, make sure you use a condom for safety. In this case, the condom is this. When you drop an airbrush, if you don't have the protector on the front and the protector on the back, one of two things are likely to happen. You're going to drop it on the end and bend the needle. You're going to drop it on the back. You think, oh, well, who cares if you drop it on the back? You drop it on the back, and the force of it is going to jam the needle into the nozzle so much that you can't get it out, because the nozzle is made out of like brass. That happened to me before, and I had to replace the nozzle and the needle. So, and I'm not a necessarily clumsy person, but shit happens. King Tiger Porsche turret. You like that one? The pre-production turret is really what it should be called. Because the turret, I believe, was still made by Henschel. It was actually for another vehicle. I actually didn't like that turret first, and then I've grown to like it. You know, German stuff, German World War II stuff, most of it looks really good. But you know what? A lot of Soviet stuff looks really good too. Okay. Let's test it with some thinner. Should have no liquid coming out. Right? Now we should have liquid as I pull back. We're in business. All right? I'm not going to run more primer through it. This is completely clean and good to go. I could do detail work if I needed to. But like I said, what I pretty much use this for is priming. So, try to say I am a woman while being a man here. Yeah. They make fun of you. Well, that wasn't a thing when I was a kid either. If you did that shit in the 1970s and 80s when I was in school, you'd get an atomic wedgie. They'd probably turn you into a woman because they'd have that wedgie so far up, you know, you could picture it. Hey, you can do whatever you want, but I don't have to believe in it. You know what I'm saying? The unicorn people is what I call them. It's like, I want to be a unicorn. I said, well, I don't believe in unicorns, but go right ahead. Did not make it here. Yeah, no, didn't make it here. For whatever reason, it didn't come up on my phone. Vladimir, thanks for coming by. I appreciate you. Hopefully see you again. And hope you had a good time. And that one was lame. Sorry, it's getting late. But we'll get this, start working in the morning, and we'll be back on at 5 a.m. or 5 a.m.-ish. And we'll see you guys on the flip side. Appreciate y'all. Bye-bye.